Welcome back to another video. This video I'm going to be showing you how you can actually check for all of the components within all of your projects and copy those components to new projects. So in here, I'm having test project 1 and test project 2. Also, what this script is also going to do with using the Python is also going to check if those components already exist within the components that we are doing the copying, so we don't actually get the duplicates. That is not our goal. So let's say you have a lot of components right there, and your task is actually to have the components that are from the existing projects to be also added to the projects that are also gonna be created. Right, so this is our Python script. Okay, it's using the requests library and the basic authentication, meaning it's using your email address and using your API key. If you're not sure how you can actually generate your API key, make sure to check out my video on how to actually generate the API key. All right, the first variable in here that is in importance to us is defining the project keys. And already I have this prepared. Then also we have the authentication, which is also important to have in here by calling the HTTP basic auth, which is doing this based on the JSON. That's why we also need the JSON library here. The first, we're getting all of the projects with this API endpoint that actually still works, even though if it's saying that this API endpoint is deprecated, which is not true, it still works. Right, and then we're getting the components for the specific project. So it's gonna get the components for all of those projects. So that is what's important. Then we have a name, project description, and assignee type, which is within the payload itself. Then we also have what is the response. So first of all, if everything is okay, then it's saying create it and what is the name of the component. If actually it already exists, it's going to say skipping the duplicate. So this is where skipping the duplicate actually gets on. And within the else statement, we have failed to create the component, and also it's going to give us why it actually has failed. Then we move on to the main logic. So as you can see, this project is getting all of the projects. So it's actually calling this function right here. Then it's using that function to go and to loop through all of those projects. And it's saying checking components in the project and what is the key of it. And also there is also a failed one. So it's getting the components and everything is okay. But if there is an exception, it's going to say, okay, this is the exception. But the statement doesn't end there because it actually has continue. It doesn't have the break. So if the components are not there, it's going to say components have not been found. And also it's going to say how many components were actually being found with this length function in here. All right, and this also is going to loop and it's going to say copying components to project this one. And if already exists, you're going to say failed to fetch target components. Then it's going to also say skipping the duplicate. All right, so enough of my talk. Let us just run this script right here. So as you can see, it's saying that it found 19 of them. So it's going to create all of these components in here, right? So then it's copying and creating from TP number 2, and it's going to go through it. So then we are also gonna, when it's finished, we're also gonna check. So it's saying, yeah, skipping all of them because they already exist. And then it's gonna skip more of them because they exist as well. There's also skipping the duplicates and so much and so on and so forth. As you can see, it keeps on doing it because, well, Most of them are actually these components in here that already have been created, but there are actually some of them that are, I believe, are new. Yeah, because I'm using the sample a sample instance. Yeah, and as you can see, it created new ones, created infrastructure, and created mobile, and created the web. So it's basically going through all of those projects. Imagine having 100 projects and doing this by your own. Don't do that. Automate all of your processes whenever you can. All right, it's actually done. Let's go back to our projects in here. Let us just refresh, and let's go for our components in here. I didn't have any components. Basically, I had 0 of the components. How the page didn't load. That's interesting. Okay. It's giving me Compass components. All right. You might be confused when you click on components. It's going to say, you know what? I'm giving you Compass components. I don't know why, but for the user experience, users might be confused about this. All right, so this is what we have: web store purchasing services, web, VPN server, printers. All of these components have actually been indeed copied to this. So the copy is the name of the component, the description, component lead, default assignee as well. And it did it perfectly. If we go to our another test project in here, if we actually go for components, I have to disable this. I'm not going to go give any feedback. If I was about to give any feedback, I would ask, why are you giving us Compass components when we are on Jira? If we want to use Compass components, instead we would be on Compass. And if I go here, I'm going to say basically that all of these have actually been copied to my project as well. So this is actually how you do it with Python. Remember, automate as much as you can. Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe to the channel. See you in the next one. Bye.